Thank you very much for clicking on the One More Time podcast. You've made an excellent choice. Building a comfortable career making music is insanely hard, but our singular function here at the podcast is to do whatever we can to help you guys achieve it. So we decided to straight up ask our Discord community, what are some of the biggest struggles you're having? What are some of the barriers that you feel like are holding you back from a successful career? Which, by the way, if you're not in the Discord, I'll put the link in the description. It's free and it's a great resource for musicians. And we talked about all of those struggles on the episode today, and we're hoping that this dialogue could be helpful for anyone just trying to make it in music. We feel you. It's hard. Let's get into it.
So number one, finding good engineering.
Yeah.
You're an engineer, my friend.
I am.
What do you have to say about this struggle?
First thing I would say is that for me personally, all of my clients I have found through word of mouth, I think that's actually kind of common when it comes to engineering. So my best advice would be to ask everybody that you know, who's your engineer? Who do you use? Maybe listen to some people's music. And if you like how the mix sounds, maybe, ask for who their mixing engineer is, what they charge for rates. And go from there. Join
communities. So once again, shameless plug for our Discord, but there's also so many communities out there of artists that are, talking about these types of things, and they're giving recommendations on who it is that they work with.
Yes.
And it's really not that hard when you just put yourself out there and you kind of get out of your own little bubble. And I know it's easy to do. Sometimes creatives are like lone wolves, you know what I mean? They like to kind of do their own thing, be in their own little circles, and they like to kind of keep their circle tight a lot of times, which I can respect that in some ways, but it doesn't help you find new team members, right? To collaborate with, both on the creative side and the business side. So I think that if you can find yourself, kind of engaging in these communities online and in real life, then you're going to really have a better shot at finding quality, creatives to work with on the engineering and the production side, and even featured artists and writers, et cetera. And then on the business side, if you're looking for a manager or an A&R or, graphic designers or, project managers or digital marketing people, whoever, all the different pieces to the puzzle, it's a lot easier when you're part of other musician communities, because that's where you can get quality recs. Of course, you can look people up on, Fiverr, you can look people up on Google, you can look people up wherever the fuck, but you're not going to get this word of mouth, bro.
Get out there. You can put yourselves out there. Absolutely. And then also another note I wanted to say on that one, I think they mentioned that the engineering thing was holding them back from dropping music as well.
Ooh, it does. It says, which makes me lose enthusiasm to drop music.
Fuck that. I'm an engineer. You don't need a great mix to drop music, at least to start. Maybe you don't want to upload to Spotify, Apple Music immediately. You can post something on YouTube. You can post something on SoundCloud, Audio Mac, just get ideas out there. You want people to get accustomed to the fact that you are someone that releases music. If it's a good idea, it's a good idea. And a muddy vocal isn't going to completely ruin the song. Could it have been a little better? Yes. Is an engineer going to put that icing on your cake? Yes. But you have a cake. You know what I mean? Share your cake with the world. You know what I mean?
For sure. If engineering is actually your biggest struggle, hopefully this kind of
this is great. Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah, hopefully this debunks that myth and you start realizing there's actual struggles happening, because engineering shouldn't be kind of the biggest thing that y'all are dealing with. So
speaking of real struggles.
Yeah,
number two.
Exactly. Number two. Which one were you thinking?
I was thinking it was time management.
It is time management. It's I didn't know the order. I guess it is in order, but good memory.
Yeah.
But yeah, time management. Specifically, this member of our community was talking about supporting his family, right? And so obviously being a present family member while still putting in the work to try and further his music career. It's tough. I'm gonna just say it. It's not easy.
We don't have quick fix for this one.
None of these answers or none of these ideas are going to necessarily be wave your magic wand type shit. But
we could talk about how we,
No, for sure. As someone like me, I'm a father of two, right? And so I can relate to this wholeheartedly. And it's really tough. I think that unlike people who maybe don't have family responsibilities, right? They probably have other struggles, but they don't have the kind of weight of a family, right? I would say that every second, every minute, every day is just so precious, and like you have to be as productive as possible.
It's kind of a mindset shift.
Yeah, there's no wasted time allowed, right? Like it's not gonna happen. Like you just can't do certain things, like right? Like you have to sacrifice doing other things to make time for both your family life and, in this case, trying to like further your music career.
Yeah, if you have a family, you have to make time for them. If you have a job, you have to work your job. It's not going anywhere. So the only solution is to just figure out how to maximize that. And we do lots of things like we have a calendar.
Calendar.
We live and die by our calendar. You know, sometimes you'll see a lot of entries on that calendar.
If it ain't on the calendar, it doesn't exist.
It's not real.
And we've even become accustomed to like putting personal things on the calendar, because we do think it's important for you guys to set aside time for yourselves, whether that's spending time with family, whether that's spending time with yourself and playing video games.
Netflix, yeah.
Exactly. Whatever it is you like to
block
do.
Block it off.
Block it off. If you need to even just block off time to make music, block off time to come up with content to market your music, come up with, or, you know, block off time to do all the administrative shit like uploading to your distributor, you know, fucking registering your songs with your PRO, all the like kind of more tactical admin type shit that we all don't like to do, but you gotta set aside time to do it. So I would say calendar number one.
It's just something about it being on the calendar too. It's like, oh shit, I gotta do it. It's on the calendar.
Can't say no to the calendar.
Yeah.
Calendar's gonna beat my ass if I don't do what it says.
Calendar don't fucking play.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are enjoying the conversation. I want to take a quick moment to tell you about our pals at DistroKid. You can't get your music onto streaming platforms without a distributor, and DistroKid is an excellent choice to handle that for you. For the ridiculously low price of $23, you can upload unlimited music for an entire year. That is less than $2 a month. I tripped on $2 walking down the street earlier. They have countless features to help you out on your musical journey. One of my favorites is splits. Instead of my collaborators hitting me up all the time saying,
"Where's my money?"
I can input everyone's percentage when I upload the music, and DistroKid will handle it. I've personally used DistroKid for many years and can genuinely recommend them as a great tool to get your music out into the world. And if you sign up at omtdistro.com, you'll get 30% off an already insanely low price. This is absolute peanuts for unlimited uploads yearly. We wish you the best with your creating. Let's get back to it.
Number two, I would just say research some time management methods, right? And I know that's kind of like passing the buck, being like, go do some homework, but there's a lot of them out there.
Pomodoro.
Yeah. The one that Henry put me on when we first actually started working together was this method called the Pomodoro method.
You know, who put me on was Adam Ivy.
Okay, shout out to Adam Ivy, past podcast guest. The Pomodoro method, in essence, is basically you kind of do like sprints, right? Where you're really working hard on a task, distraction free, right? Like you turn your phone on silent, you only do that thing. I don't care if an email pops up. I don't care if, honestly, if, you know, something's happening outside, you want to go check on it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But sprint is right, because they're short bursts. You do, 20, 30 minutes of a task, very focused, and then 5-minute break.
Exactly.
10-minute break.
Yep.
And then you kind of recalibrate, reset, take a breath, get some water, take a piss, take a dump, whatever you got to do.
Exactly.
And then you get back into it.
And the way that they kind of approach, like, all right, what tasks should I accomplish first?
The one that bugs you the fucking most. The one that you wake up like, I got to do that today. I really don't want to do that first.
Yes.
And you know who actually put me onto that is another thing. My dad put me onto a book that's very good called Eat That Frog.
Oh.
Have you heard of Eat That Frog?
I don't like frogs.
No one does.
I wouldn't want to eat one.
No one does. That's the point. You have to do it first, though. Everyone has to eat the frog. It's like you don't want to eat the frog, but that one daunting task that you have to do. It's going to be the hardest thing. People love to do like the easy task, like, before I do that mix, maybe I'll just start my dishes, or I'll start my laundry, or I'll do some other little things to feel productive. No, eat the frog. Do the one thing that is the most daunting first. You will just feel better for your entire day.
How good does it feel when you eat the frog?
After the frog is eaten, once you swallow, it feels great. Eating the frog is a little anxiety pops in.
Exactly. But no, I meant like y'all will be shocked.
Yes.
As to just like a weight is lifted off your fucking shoulders.
Clarity.
Because it's that one thing. I mean, for a lot of y'all, I'm sure it's about coming up with content ideas.
Yep.
It's, doing the admin shit I mentioned as far as like registering your songs with PROs. You'd think like getting paid would be something y'all would be,
into, yeah.
jumping at the bit to do.
It doesn't happen a lot.
It doesn't happen, right? So yeah, I definitely think, number one, calendar. Number two, just, researching kind of time management methods. And then, just like not letting yourself get sucked into those distractions, man. It's really easy for us to start scrolling mindlessly, to, just kind of be a little lazy. But if you really want this shit, you're gonna figure out a way to do it.
One thing that works for me too, also just as a side note, is that a lot of people, like, I like to think about other people that are doing it, and like whenever I like get distracted or I'm doing something, I'm thinking like there's someone else who's busting their ass right now. There's someone else who's out here getting it right now, and I'm fucking off doing nothing. And that motivates me in a way. You know?
Yeah, I mean, shit, maybe even just following some like motivational, inspirational people like a Gary Vee or someone.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be able to like beat the like productivity into you. You know what I mean? All right. The next one, consistently putting out content.
We have a very great resource for you for this one. You have no excuses because it is a free resource that we put together. It is called 100 Viral Content Ideas for Musicians.
Where is it? Where can they get it?
They can get it at 100viralcontentideas.com.
That's right.
We'll put the link right here. You have no excuses. Take one of these. Just flip a, you can like scroll through it, land on an idea, replicate it, make it your own, tweak it so it makes sense for you, and just put out content. It is hard. And Ben loves to batch as well. That's another kind of note I would like to make.
Yeah.
Batch isn't for everyone, though.
It's not for everyone.
We talked to Larry O recently, who doesn't batch.
Yeah, but I did see some other shit pop on my feed that was talking about batching as well, because it was just like that daily struggle, man. Because think about it. If you got to literally wake up in the morning, you got to shoot something, you got to edit it, and you got to post it all in one day to keep up with maybe like a daily posting schedule, you're fucked. Well, you're literally fucked, dude.
Larry O's not fucked.
I'm just saying, like, for someone who's struggling with time management, like...
Yeah, I think self-awareness plays a big part.
For sure. But if it is something that you struggle with, I think that, to Henry's point, batch, I would say batching everything, right? Like batching the ideation process, like coming up with the ideas. I think like a lot of famous YouTubers say that before you even start a YouTube channel, you should come up with 100 YouTube video ideas. So I want to kind of translate that to musicians. I would say anytime that you're coming up with like a marketing plan for a song or a project, I would say come up with 100 content ideas to market that song or market that project, because then you're not going to necessarily use all 100, just like these YouTubers don't necessarily do all those 100 ideas. But at least it's like a starting point so that you can kind of pick and choose from them when you then go to the actual like shooting process, right? Like the actual creation process, right? So
and it just gets your juices flowing too. You know what I mean? It just gets your gears turning on like the idea. Because like the anxiety of just starting paralyzes people sometimes. Literally just the act of like, it's so funny, man, because I'm the exact same way. I'm speaking to myself right now. The thought of starting something like that is so much worse than like once you're actually doing it. Once you're doing it, you're like, oh, this is great.
Yeah. There is something so overwhelming, because I will say this is where also just like finding people to kind of like collaborate and brainstorm with. We have a content ideas channel in the Discord. Once again, this is not meant to be a fucking like ad for Discord, but like join the fucking Discord.
Join the Discord.
Not there, but like I'm just thinking of like things that we're doing. It's a lot easier to come up with ideas and to like not feel as like intimidated or like scared or whatever, kind of like not have it be as daunting if you're doing it with other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes it a lot more fun. You can bounce shit off of each other. And like, this is why I think you and I work well together too, is that like, you'll say something that then sparks an idea in my mind. Yeah. And then you'll even like further like take it to the next level and shit. And then it's like, oh, bam, we got this really good idea, versus if it would have just been you at the very beginning or me at the very beginning.
Wouldn't have been the same.
It wouldn't have been the same. And we probably would have been like done after one.
Given up,
yeah. So I would say that just goes back to like, man, community. And like, that's what we're really trying to build ourselves, because we're a brand just like you guys are a brand. So us building a community is just as important as like you guys building a community. So that's why I think like it's so much easier to do. Like, ask your fucking fans too. Like that's
the basis of this entire episode.
Literally, we crowdsourd ideas from you all on kind of like what to talk about in the thing that we do. And so you guys could do the same thing with your audience as far as like, what kind of content to post, you know what I mean? Like ideas on, what things you should create. So I think that's a good one for sure. All right, let's see. I like this one. I don't know how much, like it's kind of just a bar. No motivation to do everything by myself and no money to pay anyone to do it for me. And someone else said something about making money, so I feel like we can kind of maybe parlay those two together. I mean, we did We did make a video about like 8 unique ways to fund your music career. And I think we kind of touched on like the scary subject of money and how to fund this expensive thing that is doing music.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts, man?
It's tough, man. When you're early on, like there's all the money. All the money in music is at the top. You know what I mean? Like there are, what I will say is though, the amount of ways to monetize a music career is as big as ever. So everyone obviously wants a platinum record, a Grammy, you know, be famous, cool. Like, yeah, you can do that. But if you're realistic with yourself and you'd be happy making, you know, a couple $100,000 a year, like with a core group of fans and touring like medium venues, or just like, there's just so many, we've seen so many ways that you can be successful. I think opening up your mind to other monetization methods outside of the normal traditional ones is where I would start at least.
Yeah, I think, spoiler alert, number 1 on the 8 unique ways to, fund your music career was get a job. Yeah, was get a job. And that's not
shame, man.
Yeah, it's not meant to discourage. I've seen a lot of people like Kato on the track, who we had on the podcast, you know, in the past, like he talked about this. I've seen a bunch of people actually posting about this, how we should maybe more normalize like getting a 9-to-5 or getting some sort of side job to fund your music career. The reason why I think it's important, like fuck all the other reasons, but this is like really, really important for me, is that it takes the stress away from the like funding your music career, right? Because if you're in a place of like survival and desperation, you start to make decisions with your art that are sacrificing what you would actually want to be doing.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's the most important part, is that like fuck everything else, you know, ego, et cetera. But it's like, look, if I can now be very true to my art and be like the artist that I really, really want to be, because I'm not scraping for every fucking dollar and I'm not having to like beg my fans to stream because I need their pennies on the stream. You know what I mean? Like I'm not begging them to buy a ticket. I can like really organically like just, you know, create a community, even if it takes a little bit longer, brick by brick.
Because the longer moves are the more successful ones. You know, like could you make $100 right now if you really tried? Yeah. But if you want to make $1,000 later, it takes that comfort. You know, you do need like a safety net to some degree. So yeah, don't be afraid to get a job, sell drugs, do something. I don't know.
God, I don't stand with Henry on that one. But yeah, and then the motivation to do everything yourself. The DIYers, man, you guys, I respect the hell out of you. I do, because I know that it's coming from a place typically of requirement, of need, of budget, right? Like you can't afford to pay other people, like this comment says.
And everything is very learnable. Everything is easier to do. Like you can watch some videos on, you know, mixing, and you can get a decent sounding mix, you know, pretty quickly. But there's a point, right, where you're just kind of overloading.
It just goes back to still the community, man. Like I'm telling you, there's other people out there who you have something to offer them just as much as they have something to offer you. I'm 100% telling you that is true. I know it to be true because I've seen it time and time again, where an artist finds an engineer who's also a producer. The producer wants to make songs with this artist. The producer records them for free from an engineering perspective, and then they split the fucking revenues on the song, even though in a typical world, the producer should only be getting whatever percentage of a song, right? So get creative with how you're structuring your business. We've talked about this so many times, but I don't think that still enough of y'all are like putting this into practice. So I'd really like urge you to try and find those people. It's not going to be easy. Like you're not going to find this person tomorrow who's like an engineer that you like, and they're going to record you now for free because you have something to bring them. Like it's not going to happen overnight, but the more you're putting yourself out there, the more people you're meeting, the more people that you're genuinely interested in helping them succeed, right? I'm telling you that shit's going to come back around. We've had it time and time again where people that like we added value to have then done things for us that they should be getting paid for 100%. But because we were able to like barter services, it's like, I'm telling you, it works. So
it is funny how like some of the most creative people just aren't creative with business. You'd think that there would be this overlap. Like
I have to pay my engineer this an hour.
I looked up the industry standard and this is what it said. You can do whatever the fuck you want. It's business. Like make it work for everyone. Get creative.
Literally fucking LaRussell.
He's the greatest.
The king of this, bro.
Yes.
This is why he's so successful, and he's built a business around his art.
Yes.
And he's done it the way that he wants to do it is because he's not too egotistical to think that he commands, you know, shit, he probably could have charged us to come on the podcast. Did he?
I probably would have paid him.
Yeah, don't tell him that. Because
Somehow we've never paid a guest still.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, once again, you know, he didn't charge us to come on the podcast, but he understood that there was a barter of services, right? He was coming on to give game to y'all and to give game to our community, but he was getting content out of it. He's posting a lot of clips. So he understood that was kind of the value exchange, right?
Yes.
So once again, we're not this, you know, he's done the Breakfast Club, guys.
Yeah, he didn't have to come on one more time.
He literally went from the Breakfast Club to One More Time podcast,
Yeah.
but he understands everyone has something to offer, right? So that's where I would just say, like, get creative with the business, bro.
Yeah,
for sure. Anything else that we saw in here? I think consistency, that kind of went back to it, but let's see. Oh,
there was one more.
40s engineer.
Read it.
Getting to collab with the Obi-Wan Kenobi of his generation's engineers, OVO 40.
Okay, my best advice: give up on that dream.
Kill it.
It's
dead.
40. You know, 40's 40.
But what about manifestation, Henry?
Manifest something else.
No, fuck that. You're working with 40, baby. Let's go.
You got this.
Let's go.
Oh man, appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Love y'all.
See you next time.
Peace.